Here we go now, baby. We are right back in to the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Christmas Day special. Before you betting special right here on the Covers YouTube channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button right down there. So this is it. A lot of great sports betting action here on Christmas Day. So we got a ton of bets for you guys across the NFL and the NBA. A lot of great spots to bet on. A few things to keep in mind here off the top. This special is presented by BET365, a great sports book. I strongly recommend checking them out. A great interface, very easy to use, and a great prop betting offering as well. So check them out. Also, something to keep in mind. Most of these spots are being recorded a couple days out from Christmas. Most of these have been recorded on Friday. So there might be a little bit of line movement one way or the other. So just something to keep in mind if you go to look to tail some of these bets and the lines are off by a point or two. So a lot of great spots, a lot of great guests coming up. I'm going to knock out my NFL off the top here. Then we're going to start to roll into a bunch of guests. Then we're going to do the NBA segment. Then we'll have you on your merry way to sip your eggnog and spiced rum. That's what I'll be sipping on. After, in the morning, I'll have some coffee with some Baileys mixed in. Hey, it's Christmas, right? So excuses to drink and stuff yourself. Okay, so 4 best bets for the NFL for me. Let's get rolling here with the first game of the day. We got the Raiders in Kansas City taking on the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to go over their team total of 25.5 points. Simple handicap here. In 11 career starts against the Raiders, Patrick Mahomes has led the Chiefs to an average of 35.5 points per game. No fewer than 28 points scored in these 11 games by the Chiefs. And this includes scoring 31 against the Raiders in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. I think this is a great spot for the Chiefs offense to build some momentum ahead of the playoffs. They don't look right. That's a correct assessment. But still, check out this Raiders defense. They're awful. 26 in yards allowed per play. 26 on third down. 25th in the red zone. The 4th lowest pressure percentage. So I think this one sets up very nicely for the Chiefs offense on their home field to get some momentum going. Next up, we have the Giants in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to smack the shit out of them. So how do you want to bet it? Yeah, you can take the Eagles to cover that big spread. I think a better way to bet it, though, is to take the Eagles to score over 3.5 touchdowns at plus 130. You can find that over at Bet365. You go to this game and go into team props. And they have over-under touchdowns for each team. So I view this as the ultimate get-right spot for Philly versus a Giants defense that they've absolutely obliterated in 3 of the last 4 matchups between the teams. A 38-point performance against them last season, a 48-point performance against them last season, and a 34 as well. It's hard to say that. Point performance. So check out the Eagles at home this season. They've scored 4 touchdowns in 4 of 6 games at home already this season, and they played some much better defenses than the Giants. And the stat that I absolutely love. So this one will probably come down to the Eagles' performance in the red zone. They rank 2nd in red zone offense on their home field. The Giants, 29th in red zone defense when they go on the road. So give me the Eagles to go over 3.5 touchdowns plus 130. Okay, next up, the nightcap, the game most people are looking forward to. I like the Ravens. How do I want to play them? What angle do I want to take? A lot of trends to support them as an underdog. I like them in the first half, though, as an underdog, plus 3, even money over at Bet365. So, the Ravens are a perfect 7-0 against the spread in the first half on the road this season. The 49ers are a mediocre 3-3 at home. They tend to finish a lot stronger than they start. Baltimore is allowing a league low 4.1 first half points on the road. 49ers allowing 9 first half points at home. So what is the path to victory for this bet? I think it will come on the ground. The Ravens are 2nd in yards per rush over the last 3 games. The 49ers are 30th in that category over the last 3 games. 49ers not great at getting stops on third down. Baltimore is, though. So I think Baltimore shows up ready to play, at least in the first half here, and can keep this one tight, maybe even have a lead at halftime. And my last play here on Christmas Day, I'm calling this the BET365 special because I don't see any other books offering this bet. Now, I bet Gus Edwards to go over his receiving yard total of half a yard last week. People are saying, my book doesn't have it. My book doesn't have it. Guess who did have it? Bet365. A great offering of prop bets here. So I'm going to take Edwards to go over his receiving yard total again of 2.5 receiving yards. It's probably only going to take one catch. And this is a sneaky spot because he has topped this in 7 of his last 9 games. He should see a lot more time on the field. Keaton Mitchell now likely out for the season. He's out for this game. And this isn't a good spot for the 49ers defense. They allowed 35.2 receiving yards per game to running backs and the 4th most catches. That's key. It might only take one catch for him to go over that 2.5 receiving yards. Gus Edwards, a sneaky little spot there on Christmas Day. Okay, so there you have it. My 4 best bets for the Christmas Day NFL games. Now let's see who some of our guests like. All right, let us now bring in one of my favorite guests on the show, my guy, Jason Logan. We call him J-Lo around here. J-Lo, I hope the spirit of the holiday season has filled your heart with joy, and I hope some of these bets that you're about to give out can fill our wallets with some cash. So you have 2 best bets for the Christmas Day games. Let's get started with the first game, Raiders at Chiefs. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go Raiders under team total 16.5. So under 16.5, it's minus 150 at Bet365. That's 63-point freak show on Thursday Night Football. I'm not putting any weight into that. They were playing the Chargers team that was dead in the water, didn't have the starting QB. The coaching staff knew it was on the way out. And then Thursday night games just breed weirdo results. So I'm putting there's no cachet that carries over to this game. And if you look at most of their offensive fireworks in that game, they're touchdowns, and they did score 2 on defense. So it kind of skews things a little bit. There were explosive plays, big plays. They had 4 touchdowns that were 30 yards, 22 yards, 26, and 20 yards. And if we look at KC, not only is this a massive step up in defensive competition compared to the Chargers, but KC has allowed only 66 explosive plays, which are 10 or more rush yards, 20 or more passing yards, which sits top, 5th fewest in the NFL. And KC did get to see some of that. They scored a 63-yard touchdown against the Chiefs there a couple weeks ago, and then KC tightened the bolts. So I think Spags is going to be ready for this offense and what they want to bring to the table. And not only that, but this is a Christmas Day game in which they have to travel, carrying all that off-season weight. You're carrying over the holiday. But this is also their first road game since November 19th. And it's an outdoor game, which is a big thing too. And we look at the extended forecast for this game. Potential for rain and feels like temps in the mid-30s, so not Las Vegas weather by any means. This is also going to be that rookie quarterback's first taste of the Arrowhead faithful with they're going to be well oiled with Christmas cheer, I will say, on this day. And if we look at this team too, I mean, they're terrible on the road. They average less than 2 touchdowns per game on the road right now. So I see them not coming out here putting up many Christmas Day fireworks against a Chiefs team that wants to get right.
Yeah, I think liquor sales will be off the charts at Arrowhead Stadium this game. And I think it's going to be an old school Kansas City Chiefs stomp down of the Raiders. Okay, so let's go to this game. Looks like a lopsided one to one of the best matchups of the entire season. The nightcap here on Christmas. We have Ravens in San Francisco versus the 49ers. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, well, you mentioned this in your trends piece. In Baltimore, 19-3-1 ATS in their last 23 games as an underdog. That's hardball culture. So that's something that underdog bettors can take and feel a little fuzzy and warm about. But when we get into the specifics of this game, I like the Baltimore defense, and I expect it to throw a little wrench in Kyle Shanahan's schemes, especially as it comes to decoding a lot of the pre-snap movement. So according to the Baltimore Banner, against passing plays with pre-snap motion this season, the Ravens ranked tied for 2nd in yards allowed per attempt, just 5.9. They're 4th in sack rate, and they're 1st in EPA allowed per drop back. So they do a great job of decoding that pre-snap motion. You have a lot of veterans up there. They're excellent at communicating on the line of scrimmage too, and pointing out motion and reading these things. And then as for the Niners too, they've been susceptible to the ground game. However, they usually kind of kick the crap out of teams right out of the gate, and that forces opponents to have to abandon the run and not be able to poke the soft spot and get to play into the strength of the San Francisco defense. But the 49ers right now sit 29th in EPA allowed per handoff. We saw Arizona run the ball 30 times, 234 rushing yards on the ground, put a little scare in anyone that was laying the lumber there with San Francisco last week. And San Francisco could be missing some bodies up front as well too. You got Armstead and Hargraves, two guys that are questionable. There's some other guys in this defense that are banged up, and the Ravens are especially physical on both sides of the ball. They beat you up with that run game as well too. So I like the Ravens to keep this one close, and I'm going to take the +5.5.
All right, we are in agreement on that one. Okay, J-Lo, that is it for your appearance here on the Before You Bet Christmas Day betting special. We thank you very much for joining us. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and best of luck with those bets.
All right, you too. Enjoy all the time there, Joe. I know this is, like we said, this is the prime time for Christmas when it comes to the family men. So enjoy that time.
Wise words from J-Lo. He said on the show with me on Monday that you only have so many of these Christmases when your kids are young. So if you can relate, enjoy them. Thanks a lot, J-Lo.
All right, Merry Christmas, guys.
All right, we are moving right along here on the Before You Bet Christmas Day betting special. Let's move right along to one of my favorite guys. Professional sports bettor Hitman is with us. He has a prop that he loves here for the nightcap. Ravens in San Francisco taking on the 49ers. So what is the player prop that you are targeting for maybe the biggest game of the season here?
All right, well, we have two potential MVP candidates in this game. I'm going to look to back one of them, and not by coincidence, it's the guy that I'm hoping for my own betting sake does win MVP, but it's going to be Brock Purdy over 252.5 passing yards. Now, the main handicap for this bet is the fact that Brock Purdy's efficiency this year has been like absolutely insane. Like, it's one of the most efficient seasons a quarterback's had of any season going back all time. He has 70% completions on the year. He has 10 yards per attempt, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, what's hurt him in the statistical categories is the fact that he's not getting much volume. He's only attempting 27 passes a game because San Francisco is getting in so many blowout game scripts. This is one game where I think that Baltimore is at least a team that can keep this game script neutral for long enough that we see more Purdy volume. The Ravens are a good defense, don't get me wrong, but they're an overachieving defense. And also, if you look at Sean McVay and his Rams team, a disciple of the Shanahan system, what Stafford and them did against this Ravens defense recently, they've really benefited off a pretty weak opposing schedule of quarterbacks. I think that Purdy is going to be the biggest test they've had all year, and I think that we get some more volume out of him. And one more thing, Joe, is it doesn't hurt that he is playing for that MVP. Maybe at the end, if they do have that lead, maybe Shanahan gives them a throw or two, try to cement that MVP candidacy for the entire world to see on Monday night.
Yeah, Purdy looking to lock that up if the 49ers can get the W, if he can stuff that stat sheet, go over that passing yard total, and as long as they don't completely choke in their final couple games of the season, yeah, the award might be his to lose. Okay, Hitman, we will leave it at that. Best of luck with your bet. Thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We will catch you again in week 17.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Okay, next up on the Before You Bet Christmas Day special presented by BET365, the pride of Halifax, Nova Scotia, self-proclaimed sports betting legend, my guy Ro. Ro, is that fair to say?
Ooh, that's a pretty tough one to lay on me at this point in the year, but I've been doing pretty well the last few weeks, so I'll wear that hat for now.
Okay, working his way towards being that sports betting legend. Okay, so Ro likes two plays here on Christmas Day. Let's start with a prop play that you like for the middle game, Giants, Eagles. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm fading Jalen Hurts on his passing yards total here. You're seeing that at most books about 230. So I love the under here. I mean, earlier in the year, I remember when Hurts was just throwing it up to A.J. Brown. They were just coming down with a ton of yards every week. But that hasn't been the case for the last couple of months. He's thrown for fewer than 210 yards. It is 5 of his last 6 games. One game where he went above that number was a blowout loss to the 49ers, where he played with a negative game script and threw the ball 45 times. We're seeing the spread sitting at minus 13.5 right now for this game. So I'm expecting the Eagles to be playing with a positive game script here. Not as many pass attempts for Hurts, of course. And I do think the Eagles are pretty much going to run the ball down the Giants' throat. We've seen the Giants really struggle against the run this year, allowing almost 132 rushing yards per game, 4.7 yards per carry. So I think that's going to be the ticket to the Eagles' success here. I think they're going to lean on that, and we're going to see Hurts go under his passing yards.
Okay, let's go to the nightcap. Looks like the game of the year, probably. I think it's too many points. Baltimore, a 5.5-point underdog in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is smacking the living crap out of anyone whenever they come to town, though. So, very interesting game. Who do you like on the spread?
I'm taking the Ravens here. Plus 5.5, I think, is just a little bit too many points. It is interesting. Like you said, the Niners are just crushing opponents. But you look at power rankings. I mean, pretty much everyone and their grandmother has the Niners as the number one team in the league. But a lot of people have the Ravens as the number 2 team in the league. So we're talking about a pretty big spread, equivalent to 4 points on a neutral site between 2 of the top teams in the league. And I think that's just a bit too much. You look at this Ravens team, second in the league in defensive EPA, second in drop back EPA. I think what they do on defense matches up very well with what the 49ers do on offense, especially in terms of pre-snap motion, in terms of kind of the bubble plays that the Niners like to do. The Ravens are very disciplined on defense. They're not a team that blitzes a ton. They keep their blocks really well, and they do a really good job of kind of filling in those spaces. So I do think they're going to be able to keep things close here. Obviously, some question marks about this Ravens offense. Mark Andrews injured, might miss the rest of the year. We don't know. Keaton Mitchell done as well now. But the Niners have been a bit susceptible on the ground. Injuries to Eric Armstead and Hargrave over the last couple of weeks. The Cardinals ran for a ton of yards against them last week. Obviously, it didn't matter against the Cardinals, but I think it could definitely matter against this Ravens team. And, of course, you love your trends. And biggest one, of course, for me is that the Ravens are 19-3-2 against the spread as an underdog since the start of the 2018 season. So give me the points with the Ravens here.
Yeah, Baltimore, the team really plays up to the competition. If this was a 3-point spread, maybe I'd stay away, but being able to get them outside of a key number of 3, I think an excellent spot for them. I think we're in for a good game there on Christmas night. Okay, bro, we will let you get back to your business there, but we thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck with those picks. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we'll catch up with you again for week 17.
You too, Joe.
All right, we are moving right along here on the Before You Bet Christmas Day betting special presented by BET365. Let's move things right along to the man with the sexiest smile in all of sports betting. There he is. Fantastic stuff. A special treat for the viewers on Christmas Day to get to see this guy who's going to look to stuff your stockings with some winners here. 3 bets. Lopsided game to start today. Raiders in Kansas City. What do you like for this game?
I know you're already on the team total over for the Chiefs, and I think this is, as you said, this one's going to be lopsided. KC has dominated the head-to-head so far, last 10 games. They're 9-1 straight up, but they've also scored at least 28 points in all of those. But I think this is a bad spot for the Vegas offense, hitting their team total under 15.5, minus 115. Time of recording here on Friday. Over the last 7 games, Vegas has been very fortunate with their settings. They've played 5 games at home indoors. They were at Miami and at Detroit. They haven't played in football conditions, obviously, since October 22nd, and that probably wasn't even that difficult of a setting in Chicago. Projected rain. It's going to be cold at Arrowhead. Wind will not help. It's an early start for a West Coast team. There's a lot of pieces here not to like about Las Vegas. It might actually be the high point in this offense coming off last Thursday's game. Mike Mayer is banged up. Josh Jacobs is still injured. And KC, this is one of the better defenses they'll face. KC is allowing just 16.2 points per game at home on the season, and that includes their last 3 games, Buffalo, Philly, Miami. They allowed a total of 55 points in those games. Big spot here for Kansas City. I don't see much happening with Vegas. Give me their team total under 15.5, and I take it to 6. I take it to 14 too.
Okay, lopsided matchup. Number 2, at least as far as the spread indicates, the Giants in Philadelphia. It's going to be a rowdy crowd on Christmas Day there And Philly
Santa
chugging
better
those,
watch out. There's no snow, but Santa better watch out.
chugging those $15 beers and throwing batteries. Okay. You like 2 props for this one. Let's start with Jalen Hurts. Break that one down for us.
Yeah, both of these are correlated, and it's massively based on the game script. This is the biggest spread of the entire Week 16 slate, 13.5 points. We're going to see lots of running from Philadelphia, hopefully lots of passing from the Giants in negative game script. But Jalen Hurts under 31.5 pass attempts. This is a blitz play that loves it, projecting 28.3 pass attempts. So there's some plus EV there. And Philly has stated recently that they want to run the ball more. They had a 55% run rate last week in neutral game script versus their season average of 46.2, which was already a top 5 rate. So we have a high run rate offense that wants to run the ball even more. 14-point favorite. They're going to really run the ball. There's a reason people are stupidly buying Boston Scott TDs at plus 300 because they think it's going to be so lopsided that we could see the backups get in here. But couple that game script. This is the biggest favorite, like I said, on the spot. This is a great spot to fade the passing volume for Philadelphia here. And this was the same number last week versus Seattle. And now they're a bigger favorite, substantially bigger favorite. So it doesn't look like the step in game script is really priced in here. So he's over once in his last 6 games. He continues to not be a great passer right now. Devontae Smith is kind of banged up. So under 31.5 pass attempts.
Okay, maybe a sneaky little play there. Okay, bring it home for us. Prop number 2 for this game. What are you looking at?
Boom. If Hurts is playing with the lead, Giants are playing from behind. Another blitz play that's based heavily on game script. Tommy DeVito over 27.5 pass attempts, minus 114. Biggest dog of the slate, like I said. So garbage time is absolutely important here. And in these situations, you might be worried that Tommy DeVito might not make it 4 quarters. But last week showed what his leash actually was when he came out. Tyrod Taylor jumped in, but DeVito went back into that game. So that shows me that Brian Daboll will put him back in that situation and that he does have a 4-quarter leash. Really like this spot. Philly likely without Darius Slay, which is probably going to hurt them. And this is a team that averages absolutely an amazing number. Philly allows 39.5 pass attempts per game, which is the number 1 rate in all of football. And even to average, I mean, the lowest team, just for a number, Joe, Cleveland allows the fewest pass attempts per game at over 28. So we just need DeVito to play 4 quarters, I think, in this spot.
Yeah, it looks like a couple of sharp spots from our guy there. Jingles. Okay, Jingles, watch out for that fire behind you. I don't know if that's real or not, but...
yeah, it's keeping me warm here out in the garage, bud.
Okay, very dangerous stuff, but I trust you to keep that safe. So we will leave it at that. We wish you best of luck with those bets. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we will catch you again on the show next Thursday, I believe. We'll see you then.
I appreciate it, Joe. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Take care.
All right, joining me now, my guy, 3-time Grey Cup champion, former San Diego Charger, Davis Sanchez. He's in the Christmas spirit over there, snowballs deep. It says on his sweater. I see. I like that very much. Davis, how you making out?
And it had whatever was in this cup is what made me feel confident enough to wear the sweater. So we're working out. Let's go.
Okay, I like it. A little Bailey's, maybe a little Kahlua, maybe a little bit of both. Okay, so let's get into it here. We have 2 lopsided games to start the day, but it is the nightcap that most people are looking forward to. Ravens, a 5.5-point dog in San Francisco. I think it's too many points. What do you think of the spread for this game?
We're going to be on opposite sides. And look, it's the Ravens. You know, you beat who's on your schedule. But I look at, their schedule. I don't see a bunch of impressive wins. I see, the teams that I thought were going to be good and we thought they'd have a difficult schedule have injuries to their quarterback. Their defense, if you look at their defensive personnel, grades-wise, they're at the top of the league. But when I look at those guys and I look at this defensive roster, I just don't think they're as good as advertised. And look, there's not many teams, and that's not to say that the Ravens aren't a threat in the playoffs here. It's just, to me, the San Francisco 49ers are head and shoulders the best team in the NFL right now. I think that you look at what the Jags, the Jags' performance last week, the score was not a true indicator of of that game. That should have been a lot closer than it looked. And I think the Niners can beat them. I won't say handily, but I think they can win by a touchdown.
Yeah, the Niners have beat up on some pretty good competition, but the Ravens excellent at playing up to the competition as well. So agree to disagree on that one, but you have a prop for the game that you like that maybe we can agree on. So break this one down for us.
Yeah, so will you ride Rashad Bateman over 27.5 yards receiving with me, because that's where I'm going. And a lot of it is we know that nobody runs more two-back than the Baltimore Ravens. Their identity is running the rock. And the Niners defense, surprisingly, they're not great. Yards per rush, I think they're middle of the pack, around 15th NFL to yards per rush given up. They're better than that. And I think that this Niners team, I think they want to come out and impose their will, the run game, make it a priority, stop that run, get that Ravens run game, and that's going to leave one-on-ones on the outside. Bateman is their speed guy. He'll get one-on-ones because you don't want to. He's the guy that you want to leave one-on-one or trust. I think he gets shots outside. I think 27.5. One catch can get him over 27.5. I love that play.
Yeah, maybe he breaks a big one, which will clinch the Ravens covering the spread, hopefully, for me. Okay, now there's one more bet that you have on your radar. At the time of this recording, there's not a lineup for it, but something you think better should keep an eye out for in the Giants-Eagles game. What is it?
Yeah, and it's Tommy Cutlett's his rushing total under. Now, you would expect what we've seen, all the success he's had rushing the football. Two reasons why I'm leaning under. One is, like I said, he's had a ton of success running the ball. At some point, you look at, and it's famous. Our boy Matt Patricia comes from the Belichick tree. It's take away, the opponent's right hand, take away what they do best. So what's one of the things that the Giants have been able to do, and that's extending plays with Joey's legs, or Timmy, whatever the hell his name is, Cutlett's legs. I believe that once his number comes out, take a look. I think under. Also, he got smacked pretty good. If he really thinks he's going to get paid at the end of the season, maybe he doesn't want to put himself in harm's way with the team that's not making the playoffs, so he can get more endorsements for whatever the heck he's getting endorsements for. You saw the Saints. Really, they were determined to smack his butt around. All the publicity he's been getting. I think teams just don't want to see that, all that stuff. I don't think teams want to see it. I think he goes under.
Okay, so one to keep on your radar. So 3 plays for Christmas Day. Davis, we will leave it at that. Best of luck with those bets, except for the 49ers spread one. I hope you hit the other 2 so you can have a winning day. But we thank you very much for joining us. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we'll catch you on the show again next week.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Hope we all win a few bets on Christmas, and then get in front of the whatever. Enjoy with the time with your families, everybody.
Okay, let us now shift gears over to the NBA. The NFL trying to hijack the NBA Christmas Day games here, but we haven't forgot about the NBA. Some pretty good spots here, so let's bring in our guy Jon Metler to discuss some of these full game spreads that we like. So just a reminder, I said it off the top to you guys, we're recording this a couple days out. So at the time of this recording, no player props are up yet, no first half, no first quarter type of bets. However, keep your eyes peeled to John and I's Twitter accounts because we might have some bets for you guys. So John, what are you going to do? I know you're more of an NBA guy, but are you going to have like a 2-screen experience kind of thing going on? Or are you even going to pay attention to the NFL games?
Nope, it'll be a 1-screen NBA type of day for me. I might be in my fantasy championship for football, so that might change. Get a little screen up there for football for that reason, but other than that, it'll be NBA for me. And I will have props on Twitter too that day.
Okay, yeah. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But some pretty good full game spread betting options here. Odds provided by Bet365. So I'll get us started here, John. I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks to cover -3, taking on the New York Knicks here. So the Bucks are on an absolute tear since their disappointing loss to the Indiana Pacers in the play-in tournament. 6 straight wins. And I do think that this is a game of meaning for them. I think it means something to them. You know, we saw them choke in the playoffs last year. We saw them kind of choke in the play-in tournament against the Pacers. So I think they show up ready to play here, very motivated against a Knicks team They destroyed them by 24 points the last time they played them. And you take a look at the Knicks versus good competition. Lots of lopsided losses. They lost to the Clippers by 22. The Celtics got them by 10. The T-Wolves got them by 17. The Celtics beat them again by 16. So they're not at their best against the best teams in the league. And I think the big advantage will come on the defensive end. You check out the last 10 games at the time of this recording. This is a matchup between the Bucks, who rank first in opponent EFG percentage. The New York Knicks at 23rd in that category. So I'll take the Bucks to take care of business. Next up, John, let's go to the Warriors Nuggets. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, so the Warriors, without Draymond Green, I've actually really liked what they've done to their how they've changed their rotations a bit. Bringing Pazinski into the starting lineup, Kuminga into the starting lineup. I really like that just because I think they ran into problems with Chris Paul kind of being there. That needs to be the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson show, and other guys work off them. And I think that works better with those younger guys in there. I also like how, Chris Paul is running with Andrew Wiggins. I think that helps Andrew Wiggins with the second unit. Also with Dario Saric, that's been a pick and roll partner, the two of them. I think it brings them more to the second unit too. The problem is their kryptonite is the Nuggets because the Warriors don't have size and they still don't have an answer for Jokic defensively. So when you look at that new Warriors starting lineup, we also Pazinski's questionable, so he might be out. They might go two bigs. They did that last time when they played the Nuggets. They don't have an answer to Jokic. You can bring in Trace Jackson Davis, who had a really good game against the Celtics, but he's still a young guy. He might be really athletic and can meet him at the rim, but Jokic is, when you're younger and you play your dad and you might be 10 times more the athlete and he just gets you with the moves in the old man game. I feel like that's what will happen to Trace Jackson Davis. Even they don't really have anyone to take Jamal Murray at the point of attack either. So it's like when you can't guard either one of those two in the pick and roll, to me, the Nuggets are just, when they're healthy, and they are right now, their starting five has been broken up a little bit this season. When they're healthy, that's the best starting five in basketball. They're at home, I think 4.5. They beat the Warriors by 3 without Jamal Murray at the beginning of November or something. So I just think 4.5 is a little too low when the Nuggets healthy. I just don't think the Warriors are fun and exciting. I like what they're doing, just not a good matchup for them.
Okay, next up, I'm going to take the 76ers as a +1 dog in Miami against the Heat. So big defensive gap between these teams here lately. Last 10 games, 6 versus 25th in opponent EFG percentage, obviously favoring the Philadelphia 76ers. First versus 23rd as well in points allowed per 100 possessions in that last 10 game sample size. So check out the Miami Heat. They absolutely stink at home. I remember once upon a time the Heat, people used to think they had some sort of a home court advantage. That is not the case, especially this season. They are 3-10 against the spread at home. Philly, one of the best bets on the road this season, 8-4 against the spread. And I don't know what it is with the Heat this season. They're not hanging with good competition. They don't quite have that toughness that they had in previous seasons. We are seeing a little bit of toughness with the 76ers, maybe a little bit of a new identity, at least in the regular season. But Miami, they've had a pretty easy schedule if you go up and down their game logs, but when they played good teams, they've lost to the Celtics, they've lost to the T-Wolves twice, including blowing a game at home, and they have lost to the Milwaukee Bucks twice. 76ers, have been pushed around a little bit by the Heat in recent years, so I think they show up. They are the much better team right now, so I will take them as a short dog. Might as well just take them on the money line if you're going to take them there at +1. Okay, John, let's wrap things up. We have the Celtics and Lakers. Who do you like in this matchup?
So the 76ers and Joe are going with Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. Just put that on record.
You're damn right I am.
I'm going to take the Lakers +2 against the Celtics. The Lakers are, when the games matter, so like we saw this in the NBA in-season tournament, in the knockout game specifically, their defense ramps up. So they're about 10 points per 100 possessions better in those knockout games. So when it really means something, the Lakers are like that team where if we get into like a playoff series or like a knockout game, we can play the matchups. We have a roster that can do that. Our defensive effort picks up. It's like it's like a Tuesday against the Hornets. They have issues. So I think when you're playing the Celtics at home on Christmas Day, that's the LeBron James special. He will have this team ready. In terms of the matchup specifically, I actually like the total's not posted yet. I have a feeling whatever number the game total comes out, I think I know what the number is going to come out at. I also like the game total under. I think this goes both ways. Like Kristaps Porzingis, he was out for injury management. I'm assuming he is playing in this game. He can also kind of help them neutralize Anthony Davis. I think there's matchups both ways where the defense, this will be a lower scoring game than the total is going to come out at. The Celtics also have, Drew Holiday, Derek White, people who can meet. This goes both ways defensively. So I do like the Lakers. I'll take the points with the 2. I think the Lakers are a much different team when the games mean more. They can step it up defensively, and they also can play. They can bring in more size and kind of disrupt that Celtics 4-out offense. They can make it a little harder on them. Just LeBron James just has kind of that knack, where if it's a big game like Christmas type thing, he's gonna have his team ready. So
yeah, sometimes it can be a bit of a guessing game with these motivational situations. I think this guy's going to get up for this game. I think this team's going to be flat. But, I think we have a pretty good resume of LeBron for showing up for big games. And we did see that in the play-in tournament. We did see it in the playoffs with them last year, too. I mean, they went into the playoffs as a play-in team, and they made it all the way to the West Finals and the in-season tournament, I should say. Of course, they ended up winning that. A little flat right now, but we do expect them to come out of that slumber at some point. Maybe it will be on Christmas Day versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, like I said, John and I will probably have a lot more on our Twitter account, so make sure you check us out there in the lead up to the NBA Christmas Day games. John, thanks a lot for joining us. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we will see you again on Before You Bet.
sounds good. Merry Christmas to your family too, Joe.
Yes, sir. Okay, that does it. I'm absolutely running on fumes here, absolutely gas, but this is the business we are in, and there's a lot of betting action here on Christmas Day. So before we go, I want to say a big thank you to all the viewers of the show. We started this show, game 1 of the NFL season here this year. We built a nice little audience, people that keep coming back, so the show does not exist without our viewers. If you guys do want to participate in this show, you can hit up that comment section right down there. Let us know what your best bets are for the Christmas Day NFL and NBA games. I also want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to all the guys behind the scenes here at Covers that make me look good. We'll start with producer Mick, who produces this show every single time we do it. We have an amazing social media team here that's always giving us shout outs when we have good days with our bets, who's always doing a great job plugging our content, and also all the content editors over on the website to clean up all of John and I's writing, and all the other guys. They do a fantastic job for us. So thank you very much to the guys behind the scenes, the unsung heroes here at Covers. So that's it, guys. I want to wish you guys the best of luck with your bets here. Enjoy Christmas with your family. If you're alone, use it as some time to enjoy the games, spoil yourself a little bit. Feel free to indulge in whatever you enjoy. Enjoy the things that you do enjoy on Christmas Day. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Best of luck with your bets, and we will see you again on Thursday. Woo! Yeah!